Hello. Today is a special Thursday edition of Commissioner in the Car. It is Thursday, November 10th, and I'm doing this in place of my Zoom with Zarni this week to give you an election update. So today, we have decided that we are going to be working for the weekend. We're going in on Friday, November 11th, and on Veterans Day, and on Saturday, November 12th, to try to get as much of the work done that we need to get done for for this election, because we have a couple of very close races. As you know, New York Senate District 50, between incumbent John Mannion and challenger Rebecca Shuroff, is very close. One of the closest races in the state right now. Less than 400 ballots separate them, and we and of course then you have the Canole Williams CD 22 race, New York 22 race. More ballots separate them, about 3,900, but that's only really about 0.68%, and the Mannion race is 0.32%. So what we're trying to determine right now is whether, A, who won the race, because we have about 1,700 absentee ballots and 1,900 affidavit ballots inside for the whole county. Inside SD 50 in Onondaga County, there's about 950 absentee ballots. And we don't know how many affidavit ballots are in there, because that's part of the things that we have to work on over the next few days, is adjudicating those ballots and making sure that they're in the right Senate district and assigning the party to the ballot. So all of that is happening. And that's why we're going in on Friday and Saturday, because by Monday we have to get that to the state, how many affidavits we have, who they are, and so they can do a statewide cross-check. And with 1,900 affidavits in, that's just a lot of people doing that. So we are going to try to get that done, by Monday, so we can get that to the state. We're also going through all of the bags of our 148 polling places and pulling out any emergency unscanned ballots. These are ballots that the machine rejected at the polling places on Election Day, and we're not able to fill out or be accepted, so we have to manually cast those. I don't know how many there are going to be. We won't know until we're done. That's another thing why we're coming in this weekend, and we're trying to make sure that we're certified, getting ready to scan the election. So next Tuesday, we'll start with Monday. On Monday the 14th, we will send up all of our affidavit ballots to the state, and that we have viewed as good, and that they will do a statewide cross-check. At 2:30 on the November 14th, we will allow campaigns to come in and see all the affidavit ballots and absentee ballots that we have rejected, that are viewed as no good for whatever reason. Then on Tuesday the 15th, we will canvass our affidavit ballots, which means opening them and ruling on them. We've already ruled on their eligibility. Now we'll rule on the ballot itself to make sure it's proper and can be sent through the machine. And then on Wednesday, November 16th, we will scan those ballots and start to get totals that we can finally decide, finally be able to say who voted for who, with all the ballots that are out there. Again, almost 3,500, 3,600 ballots right now that have not been yet counted in part of the totals. Then, after that, the New York State Board of Elections for both SD 50 and NY 22 will combine our totals with other counties. So in SD 50, we share that with Oswego County, and in New York 22, we share that with a very small portion of Oswego County and the Oneida and Madison counties. Once those totals are put together, if a candidate is within 0.5%, then we have to hand count every ballot. Not just the absentees, not just the affidavits, but not just the early vote, but also the election day vote. So what does that mean? That means if they determine that, we will have teams of people physically inspecting each and every ballot. If we have to do it just for SD50, it's about 90,000 ballots. If we have to do it for New York 22, then we have to do about 175,000 ballots. That's a lot of ballots, and it'll take a long time. And we'll be working through the holidays and staffing up appropriately. We believe we're going to be done with our portion of this by Thanksgiving, and maybe before that, so we can get a determination on the hand count. We don't have to do it till December 1st, but obviously we want to get it done because we know we're going to have to proceed to this hand count because of the way the races are right now. These ballots that we have in hand are largely Democratic, especially when we're talking about the absentees, which has been largely Democratic all along. So, a plurality of Democrats are in there. So I expect these races to close. So if they do close, obviously John Mannion is already in the hand count phase. So more than likely we're looking at a hand count there. The congressional race will take a lot more to get to that hand count phase. It has to get under 0.5%. It's at 0.68%. Francis Knoll needs to get a net gain of about 2,000 votes to get to that over the three counties. We'll have to see if there's enough votes out there for him to get to that. If we do hand counts, I'll be doing a lot of commissioner cards on how we're going to get that done. Over the next few days, we're doing our daily canvass of absentees. Absentees are coming in. We got about 55 more good ones today. Remember, they have to be postmarked by November 8th, but they can get to us by November 15th. So we're going to be doing that every day until then, and then scanning them in and counting them on November 16th. And finally, we have a lot of prep work to get done for that. We're going through all the supplies, making sure, we're recanvassing the machines to make sure that vote totals didn't change from what the machines told us. We have the emergency unscanned ballots, which are going to be totaled, I hope, on Monday, and we'll be able to update our election night totals. And remember, everything that's being done is done by bipartisan teams. We are also now under a judicial order for Senate District 50. Both the Mannion and Sheriff campaign put in orders to have judicial oversight. The judge ruled on that today, saying that the orders are in place, but the only action that the boards of elections have to take is the action that we already said we were going to take, and keep to our pre-canvass times. So that's happening. So now that judge will be in place for the hand count, and I expect that's where things will get a little tricky. And so those are, and a lot of people still ask me about the sheriff race. And while there is just enough absentees and affidavits over the win threshold, the Esteban Gonzalez would have to win about 80%, 90% of the ballots to be able to overcome the lead that Toby Shelley had on election night, and it's not likely, especially when there's only about 3,500 ballots out there. So it's going to be a lot harder for him to win. I see Toby Shelley as a presumptive nominee, but we will do the counting. And a lot of people talk about concessions. And should somebody concede a race? Should they not concede a race? Concessions are not actually anything for election law. We will do all the steps to count all the votes, whether somebody concedes or not, because it's not the will of the candidates, it's the will of the voters that we are determining. And so somebody could say, you know what, I don't care anymore. I believe I lost. Don't do the hand count, or stop counting the absentees. We're still going to do so. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. So when they're, saying concede, that really means nothing for us. While I do believe that people who lose races should concede elections, because I believe that's a tenet of our democracy and our civil society. If you're within the absentee ballot margin, absolutely not. You should concede election until the final numbers are done. And then, of course, you could hang on until after the hand count as well. So if there is a hand count, that's why there is a hand count, to confirm the results. So in my opinion, the calls for concession in the congressional race and the Senate District 50 race, if there are any, are premature. While the sheriff's race is most likely out of reach, it's not technically out of reach. We'll have to see what happens with all those affidavits, how many are ruled good come election day. Or come November 15th, the canvass day. And then if there's more, and then we scan them on the 16th, we'll know the results. So waiting till November 17th for concessions in some of these races is important. And then, of course, we'll go to hand counts for one and maybe two of these races. It's important that we determine the exact vote totals to give surety of results. So that's it for my quick Commissioner in a Car here. If you are out there and your ballot needs to be cured because we sent you a cure notice, there's about 200 or so absentee ballots that did not fill it out properly, or their signature mismatched or whatever, you should cure those ballots and send those back. We have sent you a notice. If you got one of those and you just forgot about it, make sure you get it back by the due date so your ballot will count. That's another thing that's going on right now. All right. That's all I got for you today. I'm going to go watch a movie and try to relax because we are working Friday and Saturday at the Board of Elections to try to get you, Onondaga County, the right totals and the best totals for your your candidates and for your election, because it is your election that we are working for here. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.